This is a painting show in a really beautiful space, and the space is beautiful because we made it beautiful. We have made it to a space that is we are happy with the pillars and with all these weird corners. And then we put the two of us in it, and our pieces of work of painting, transparent painting, and very physical things.
Yeah, I mean, what's actually emerged, and I think we both recognise this, is okay, we're making paintings, but they're not conventional paintings. And what's come really clear to me is how spatial the work is, and how it has an impact on the space around it, the extent to which maybe all the conventions of painting are inverted. It seems like we've put our hand inside and pulled it, and it's turned inside out. So the interior is revealed. You can see through things. There's a kind of an interesting process.
Yeah, you can actually walk around and into the painting in some way. You can put your head inside your pieces and look inside, and you really want to find out how is this made, and how is the corner up there, and how is it down there, how are the stitches, and you would like to sit on mine as they are, because they are like places for sitting or lying as a bed or bench or whatever.
I mean, when we first started discussing the show and thinking about how we were actually going to bring the work together, not as two voices or alternatives or views on painting, but how you take these works, put them together, and the one becomes three. The whole thing about trying to figure out how we would go about that, so reducing the kind of ego aspect of a two-person show, and then we came up with this idea that actually we're going to do it through colour.
Yeah, and that you could look through mine and see yours, and we were not afraid that my piece would interfere with yours and yours with mine. So it should be one thing, actually, with the two of us and the space. Yeah. And then the other important thing is that how things are made. It's made very straightforward, and you can see how it's done. But it's how the process and how it's done is not the main subject. It's just a part of it.
Well, that kind of process of thinking about the show, and then we arrived at this decision. Well, we're going to work with the colour yellow. Yes. So I think at that point, the idea that colour was going to be used as material was at the very, something that was there at the very beginning, and all the other things that go into creating the work were also going to be thought about in terms of materiality. Sure,
the colour is material. That's such a beautiful thing to say. And it was so inspiring taking this when we found out it was the yellow, and we were thinking that there should be just a lot of yellow in it, and afterwards we would think of it as a yellow show, and then the title was there. It was quite simple.
But it's also this thing, I think, how we've shown together in the past, but in bigger group shows, so this is kind of focusing what I am beginning to understand as a kind of an undercurrent in trying to make different kind of painting. In London, some artists are interested in this. In Copenhagen, some artists are interested in this, and I think in other places. But there is this undercurrent of moving away from some of the conventions, but specifically, I think, moving away from image.
Yes, and perhaps taking the story, the narrative of the work, and put it into the actual thing instead of as an image. So it is, the story is in the viewer to sit on the thing and to put his head inside and find out what it is, and see the familiarity of the DIY show and as DIY store and the things at home, like the TV, the cupboard and the table.
One of the things that really is obvious is that we both use repetition. Sure. And we use it massively. Yeah. And I ask myself why that has such significance. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's repetition. That's also the lines after each other, and we have the whole every day is full of repetitions. If you actually just look after it, you have the place where you walk over the street and the shelves and all these things. It's repetitions all over. But in this show here, there's a lot with lines as a repetition, and yours are defined by the material of the canvas. Mine are defined by the pretty cheap wood, which is not completely straight. And it gives it is like being in a home or whatever, making people aware about the repetitions and lines and